Love family. The kids are all going through getting the undergrowth on the trees. I just told them that we got ours already, because we go through and we pull them off and cut them off ourselves, so it'll save them some time. But they're good kids. It's Tropicano's kids and the other guy's kids. They come through and they give machetes and they help the dads do the work. I like to see families work together to do farm work. I love farm work. Anyone else? I gotta get up and put the barrel in the car and the weed eater. Let's go charge our batteries. And the weed eater, go cut all the Roundup sprayed reeds up by the Martinez's and the Luceros. And then pick up that thorn tree thing and put it in that barrel. And is that the right one? Yeah. Put it in that barrel, that burn barrel that we got in the garage for them, so they can better burn stuff. So any of the thorn tree stuff I don't run over with the lawnmower. And then go through and cut back all their dead poison weeds, so we have better oxygen around here. And every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. Whew. Cut this. If I cut it all, it's Scarcesian. Me and Steve Carcesian kind of look alike. Like we could be cousins and shit. I was noticing that. I gotta shave my head. I gotta shave, period. Gotta shave the body and then get out in the sun more. Have to do that all spring and summer. That's Suzuki's thing, you survive, I'm not planning on doing anything spectacular or immaculate, and making any radical big changes physiologically. When my people are not being extorted, abused, and my planet is recovering from all the abuse from the devil and Satan, that's when, people see, pretty radical changes in my physicality, because, hey, people are living the truth. There's not putting poison in the air over money. They're not killing over money. Like when you watch that, I watched that one, it was a cartoon, but it shows the bad brain activity of entertainment through extreme psychosis. When the general from that corporation, fighting the Justice League with Lex Luthor and all that stuff, becoming president and stuff. And there's no such thing as a president. That's a human invention. It's not the Messiah. Okay. The Messiah is the standard of truth and faithful love for human beings, so they don't elect presidents to murder each other over money. Europa is insane. And once you understand Europa, you never want to do it again. You want to worship God with Christ, and you want to be his father, his brother, his relative. He loves you. And he wants you to be treated with the dignity and respect you deserve, because you're given life by the infinite glory of God, and you're not a commodity to be manipulated and murdered and abused and moved about the planet by the devil, And so it's horrible, I saw them all with their backpacks and their water and the machete over there, and I was pretty sure, because the guys are all going around here and the things. I was pretty sure it was the family of the farm workers, getting ready to do their thing, because the one kid went over towards the tree with the machete, and I was just watching and I said, I think it's those. I think it's that. And then I saw him, and one of them looks just like Tropicano. I told him, "You look like your father. He's a good man. He believes in Jesus." It's good to believe in Jesus. Yeah. The good thing about me, I told them, is, like I said last night, is I'm real. I'm not a comic book character. I'm not Superman. So I can do things that comic book characters can't do. Restore the truth, the meaning of life. Do it through technology. Make sure everybody hears it, understands it, thinks it, and does it. Perfect things that the Messiah does. That apparently only he's capable of doing and overcoming the insanity of the devil and Satan, in doomsday, exile them to it. That's being humane, is exiling somebody to another dimension who was trained by scientists to want to mass murder somebody that doesn't exist, that's going to save us all with superpowers. Just eliminate the delusion of superpowers because you think you need them, because you won't live the ways of the Messiah, because you're trapped in the ego of the devil. Holy jihad, Batman, right? And so, laying around in buildings called hospitals with excessive compulsive psychotic inventions to over-examine your body because your body's being abused by people that have ego problems, right? Is that an MRI machine from Tesla? It is. How much money did it cost? Money's not real, but my time is. And you better respect and appreciate and value my time more than you think you can do anything with your make-believe money. You can be the richest, most manipulative bitch in the world and think you're influential and powerful and have the authority over people's lives through your abuse, and that's not true. We're given life by the glory of God, and I'm the reflection of faith and the beauty of that glory. I am more of a standard of truth than any rich bitch in the world with lots of money and lots of technological equipment and think they're Lex Luthor with hair. Okay? I'm going to have more robots than they have cars in India. You're going to have less cars. That's not really saying much, because see, we're going to park most of the cars because people won't be extorted and exploited and ask for money to live here. So I see your perception and I see what you're thinking, but you're not going to have a lot of cars in India because there are a lot of people, and they'll be in close proximity to people doing things to restore the ecosystem, and they won't be driving cars very much because there'll be a lot of what they need within close proximity, walking distance. And they'll walk because it's healthy. And they'll be like their cousins from the north, the Tibetans. If they had gotten an argument with their wife, take a walk. Take a load out, like the little girl who hit our truck and almost hit Patrick and said, what happened? You got to fight your boy? Okay, do me a favor. Next time you get in a fight with your boyfriend, go for a walk. Talk to the people, walk through the country. Do you know the dreams they dream at night? Only you can see me. Touch me with your healing hand, medulla oblongata. Okay. Anybody else like Johnny Clegg songs? I think I know why the dog crawler's out the moon. That's my favorite. I think Asim Bonanga is my favorite. But Too Early for the Sky. That's a good one. Yeah. Deep in the heaven or high. It's a limerick, but I like it. I am too early for the sky. You don't go to the sky when you die. That's all fantasy of people thinking that God is high above them, and they're flies with under the magnifying glass. That my grandpa said was bullshit, because he was right. It's true. Okay, if you believe that, it's bullshit, and you shouldn't believe it. It's not real. You pray to your alter ego for help to save you from other people's alter ego because you're not obeying the commands of Jesus Christ, then, it's not going to happen. It's not going to help. It's not going to make all those Mexican men say, marry the Irish kid. He's a good Catholic and he doesn't want to kill us. Of course, I would have never been born in the United States if my father had married Mexican women. He would have started killing Americans for Mexicans to protect his wife and her family from the British, because he was now a Mexican Irishman. That's what would have happened if my 15, 16-year-old grandfather would have married the Mexican Catholic girl. I'd been born in Mexico and been speaking Spanish right now and wouldn't have fulfilled the book of Revelation, because I probably wouldn't have been born outside the valley of shadow of death, because I would have been a traitor to the U.S. military and George. Remember George at Sophia's birthday party? I'd been the child of Benedict Arnold, right? You're funny. When you protect the woman you love and your relatives' children from mass murderers who don't live the ways of Jesus Christ but claim to have Jesus Christ as their God, which is insane, because Jesus Christ never claims to be Jehovah in the Bible, not once. Jesus says that too. He says, you'll find people that turn me into a Roman god in their heads will always go through and find these points in Scripture. And they don't even really hold water. Okay. Because God's omniscient, omnipotent. His only begotten Son, God's omniscient, omnipotent. Why do you keep referring to God as He when Jehovah is an omniscient, omnipotent God and Caesar's not God? And Caesar is people, you're saying you're God. I never said that. You said I said that. You said I said I'm Caesar. I'm not Caesar. I am the Messiah who gives people faith in omnipotent God and does not resign God to the mind of a demon that mass murders through delusions of goddom in his head. You know, all you scientists out there inventing propaganda to keep people driving in cars to buy your products and fight like hell over what they need and destroying everything they need because of what you want. I'm a better scientist than scientists ever thought they could be scientists for 5 minutes in their pathetic little fucking lives, looking for alien life that's more highly evolved than them. Okay? The truth is pretty much alien to them. And I had to explain it to them and go, hey, you with the pretty face, welcome to the human race. Yeah, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Oh. You're funny. I know. I got work to do, man. I got to get up and get in the truck and take that barrel down there. And okay, that battery is charged. So let's make sure the other battery is charged. We'll take our happy little carcasses out there and get to work. I like to do things that make life healthier for people in close proximity, and the critters and the birds and the, I don't blame, it's not Buddy, he thinks, he told Dad, said, he sprayed the stuff and grab it, and I get nervous because I'm like, the way that stuff works is, it breaks you down, then eventually it just goes, and the bottom falls out, and you get sick, and you end up with cancer and diseases, and you're in the hospital, and wow, yeah, I seemed healthy 6 months ago, a year ago, and then it just, boom, the body just goes, that's it. It has this little threshold, and pow. Okay. And unless you're capable of not participating and explaining to the plants and the planet and everything that you're going to stop this because you're the truth and they're not, it's real hard for people to survive it. They will succumb to cancer. They will succumb to heart disease and diabetes and things like that. And they will eventually, just the body will die because they don't believe in the truth of the Messiah. They don't think it's going to happen. And they will self-administer things that try to make the world go away. They'll do drugs, they'll drink booze, they'll do excessive, they'll become triathletes, they'll do things, it's just about them, and they'll focus on this extreme behavior that has bad brain chemical addiction, and then they'll just go into another world. And that's where they attempt to exist. That's a horrible place to exist. To live in a fantasy of brain chemical addiction instead of live in the perfection of faithful, perfect love, where you're at Hiroso, That's called balance. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Hiroso. Balance and harmony. I walk in beauty. I send my pollen in the 4 directions to let nature know that I'm doing everything I can to respect the gift of life and all that is given to me for the gift of life for myself and my family. The Dene, the people. Yeah. Can you make that baby laugh? You're a hero. That's better than any comic book character, right? Remember, you can have much joy in your life when you have family around you that can help you smile and laugh. Okay? I'm telling you, man, they were called enemy and raiders and transhumance raiders. What you put into people is what you'll get out of people. And if you understand the son of Brigham Young, Brigham, as I refer to him, rig 'em up and get them going and move them around, get them where they need to be. Have them be good neighbors, not doctors and lawyers and such. Cowboys, when they need to be, but that's not who they are. They're a Father, a Son, and a Holy Spirit. Always remember, why is this happening to me, Father? What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. They're all doing wrong. When other people's wrong tries to make your wrong not right, The Spirit is always right when the Spirit believes in me and the truth of me and how to be more like me and less like thee, who think that the rocks are more valuable than the neighbors. Okay, may help the baby laugh. You're a hero. Okay? It's fun when someone's really attractive, okay? It's hard to make a baby laugh because the baby looks at him and goes, oh my gosh, he's so handsome. He's so easy to look at. And then when he makes a goofy face, it's like, well, okay, that's funny. Wait, you're not supposed to be that goofy. You're gorgeous. So it's kind of easy for Malachi to make babies laugh. He can just do something really goofy and silly, just make a silly face. Right? And some people aren't as physically attractive. They make a goofy face. The baby kind of goes, well, you are goofy. And it's like, that's just horrible. No, that's just the truth. Okay? But it's funny. You know, the satire of Tim Conway is kind of lost on a baby. The baby doesn't understand it. But when you're looking at a gorgeous face like Malachi Young and he makes a goofy face, it's like, you're not Jim Carrey. Yeah, Jim Carrey's funny. I like Jim Carrey, man. He makes me laugh. He's a very funny guy. I like Tim Conway. He makes me laugh. Yeah, he almost got me in a fight with a bunch of Colville kids one night that were drunk and pissed off at people being shitty to them. And I was trying to get them to calm down so nothing happened to the house that we were Chuck was using for shelter and making sure nothing happened to it because it was empty. And so yeah, it was an interesting, mean Jim. I'm gonna sip my soda. You can have it. I'm like, God dang it. Hey kid, he throws the bottle at his head and it hits him. I'm like, oh gosh dang it. Then I end up working with Mean Jim's daughter, who's one of the sweetest girls you ever met, and looks and reminds you of her father, the meanest guy in the NFL, right? She was a total sweetheart. And then I'd never do that to your dad. Not everybody's a good guy like you, Earl. Some guys are real dumbasses. They think with their dick and they're a complete asshole, but they seem charming when they want something, right? Yeah, it's Evelyn Champagne King, and they know the right things to say when they're trying to get their way. Then they get their way, and then shit. What happened? He acted like he was one of King David's 250, but he's not. Dad tries. And then when other people, play dirty, Dad gets mad and he punches the left tackle of the Denver Broncos because he's been holding him all fucking game. Mom, that shit was funny. Mom was happy when the coward that punched Howard in the gut. They were playing up in Denver and he was holding him the whole game. And Mom was so pissed. Mom knows about sports, boxing, she can tell you all about it, And the best boxers are the ones that don't brawl, that have really quick footwork and quick hands and dance around and fight you like a man. Don't fight like an animal. They hit you, you don't hit them, the fight's over. That's how men fight, right? That was my Grandpa Murphy's, that's how a man fights. He fights like he doesn't want to fight you, but he gets you to submit so the fight's over. That's how a man fights. Goddamn Irishman fights like a damn dog. He's a damn brawler. If you marry anybody, you see him married to a goddamn Ubangi. But your grandpa wanted to marry a Mexican. Yeah, and she was probably really pretty. Big brown eyes and yeah, and she liked him. Well, guys, not everybody's as nice as Topicano and his kids, A lot of people in Mexican culture, I was raised with them, macho bullshit, treat their kids and their women like shit, like they're animals, Not everybody's, there's Montezuma and there's Cuauhtémoc, right? And Cuauhtémoc tried to protect the children from people like Montezuma that would mass murder their relatives and their neighbors to stay in what was called power through violence and violent sexual behaviors. Montezuma was a complete asshole. Montezuma's revenge, you all believe in the way that he thinks and might makes right, and I was going to take a nuclear weapon with kryptonite in it and kill three birds with one stone because we can get rid of that drug dealing island. And it's like, and if you lived the Lord's Prayer, would there be a drug dealing island there? Why would people take drugs to get away from life when we're living the Lord's Prayer? The only people that would take drugs to get away from life were the people that, Lex Luthor, right? People that sold you a Tesla for 200 grand that's not real. People that made machines to look at your body being destroyed by their economic engine. And then they invent robots to be your doctor and give you your drugs. And then they're not real good plumbers, though. Don't you think, robots, if we're going to build robots, don't you think we should build robots to make sure that the plumbing's okay? Since water damage is one of the worst things for houses, and then get the mold and everything could cause sickness to make you go visit the robot doctor. Do you think it makes more sense, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure? I would think. Wouldn't you think? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a very good robot inventor. Maybe I just don't make very good lawnmowers. All that energy, all that effort, all those chemical factories for that lawnmower. It's like, man, if you give us a good Tesla motor on a lawnmower, and give us a lawn. We like cutting lawns. It's fun. Like Miss Klinger, go mow the lawn. Help you think, like take a walk when you fight with your boyfriend instead of go for a ride in a car. Let's go ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? But, slow down, because I can't take the heat. Slow down. Just the part you take my heart to wipe your feet on. Right? So, Mama, she always told me, be thankful for what you got. Did Mama say that? Yeah, don't worry when things get lonely. It's all say to mine. Right? Heaven and hell. Who is to blame for this child of clay? And the Father thinking work comes first. Work only comes after everything you're working for is doing okay. Okay. If your son's having a hard time because he's having trouble with extortion and exploitation training and indoctrination, and Dad, this incarceration sucks, who's to blame for the child of clay? All the people that think the brain is you. Okay. Crying over this clay. Right? I'm really, 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 really intelligent. And it's not hard to be really, 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 really intelligent in a room full of insane people who think their brain is them. Okay, let's put it on a robot. I have to fix that robot. I have to fix the quantum computer because it's based on their brain that has trapped the soul in their brain. So it's really hard to fix. Well, I'm gorgeous, and life's eternal, and grace is infinite, and that's the truth. And they're trying to quantify that, and it's like it's driving them mad. I know it's driving them mad. The quantum computer is not much help. That's not true. It can process and maintain information and then be able to equate information on valid, not valid, based on laws, not based on laws. Inventing money and killing people over it. That's not a law. That's not a physicist. That's not gravity. Let's look at this nuclear thing further, examine it further. Okay, why would you put the power of the sun on the earth? If the earth and the sun got together, it would destroy the earth and then destroy the galaxy, which would no longer give existence to the sun except for a supernova, thus evolving to a black hole. So therefore, in order to sustain life, to examine and explain life and the truth of what's needed for the existence of life, to explain life and have a brain that's perceived as the soul but is not, because when the brain ceases to exist in a flesh temple, the soul still continues to exist and then share life with similar flesh temples. So therefore, the mind is not self. The soul is the essence of self. Right? Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-na-na-na-na-na. Now, this is the Force. It's not the Force end or the Dredge Titan A. Look, dummies. They're all Superman's freaking dog. And I got a lot of work to do. Thanks, and yes, and I love you too. We had talked before that. I think it was just panic on the propaganda movie makers, Miss Lopez. Miss Lopez feels really horrible about what happened with the Natalie and the Amy thing. And, her pops is in the Church of Scientology. And the main presence that was in that house watching what military intel was doing with sexual manipulation to young girls and it affecting their children. Okay. So, how Dave Miscavige and Tom Cruise could look at somebody going through that hell being an innocent person just trying to be a good father and a good husband and judge him and say, oh, he's not very spectacular and or important. Hear that, Elijah, Jeremiah, in the Bible? You hear that, Lot? Hear that, Jesus? We're not very spectacular or and important. Believing in the truth of creation, having faith in it, and teaching it to people that are inventors of wackadoodle shit, saying that their invention replaces the law of truth. Boy, the truth of law, and science will solve all our problems from the other science problems that we invented before this science problem. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care what you do to them. Just be good to me. Bales, I got to put that song on the MP3. People always telling me you're a user. I don't care what you do to them. Just be good to me. That kind of reminds you of My Man by Billie Holiday. 2 or 3 other girls that he likes as well as me, but I love him. It's like, what? No, you don't, baby girl. No, you don't. What's wrong with you? That freaks you out. Have you ever been like that when you're in school, but you don't take it personally? It's a brain chemical activity thing that doesn't equate reality correctly. Yeah. All the pretty Mexican girls that would date guys like that, and he'd have like the pretty black girl that was on the track team at ASU that would wait for me at the bus stop and talk to me. Okay. And she waits for me and she talks to me. She likes me. But she was one of Larry Johnson's 5 girls. Larry Johnson was a big linebacker prospect from Dallas. It was one of the best prospects in the country to be in the NFL. He never got there, but he got 5 girls pregnant, and 2 or 3 of them lost their athletic scholarships because they signed like a thing that they if they get pregnant, they don't get to keep their scholarship. That happened with Rhonda Brown, my friend, who I had to call, and she had those voices and postpartum things in her head to go kill the baby. Because Finis Dimbo went and played for the Detroit Pistons, didn't help take care of the baby. And she lost her scholarship, but he didn't lose his. And that's horrible. She'd call me. It cost me his fucking my friend and getting her pregnant. Remember when me and her had sex, it was great and I wanted to have more, but I didn't want us to get pregnant. So we'd be tortured by the economics of this society. Well, I'm intelligent. See, he's only 17, but he's smarter than Gordon B. Hinckley. Yeah, we all know that. Okay. We get it. It's not lost on the eternal spirit of Malachi Young. But do you understand? He's the Messiah. It's that guy. He's not playing chess. He just laid down the king and said, game over. 23 live. 1 killed himself so 2 idiots wouldn't kill everybody else to be the last idiot standing. I would run for president. Yeah, no. You want to stand up for a Lord's Prayer. Why? Then all 24 pieces on the board are together, and each side has their father. And one father didn't have to volunteer to die to save everybody from the ego of the other father. Rooks, bishops, 9, queen, whatever. From a jack to a king. That's card game. Oh, sorry. There's no jacks on chess. No. I always thought it was playing chess. It's like, couldn't we just play with the chess instead of play with board game things that kill each other for the last guy to be standing and the queen's a crazy killing bitch? I'd rather play with her chess than have babies. Than say, what? Don't play games like that, especially Monopoly. They're insane. Okay. You don't need money to live here. You want to rethink your life. I love you. You don't have to pretend to be a stripper for money. Okay, Sweet Gypsy Rose? Yeah. Yeah. Is she joking around, or is that part of the dialogue, or is she really looking for nub in all the wrong places? Kiki Palmer, yeah. Michaela and the Bee. Yeah, spell that word right. Say the magic word. Well, did he? At least he spelled insurance right. No, he did not. Okay. He spelled it with an E and not an A. Okay. Okay, that's because he's an employee, not an angel. Not an angel. He's an employee. Okay. They know when they don't treat you like angels, you're all employees. Oh, damn, Geico struck again. You're not a lizard. You're not a lizard. How progressive of you. Let's crank call each other. Okay. Quote Carlin, never fails. It helps. Dad does. Okay, Earl, you're funny. The guy flying to Hawaii, no, that wasn't a crank phone call. That was just a dumb redneck. Yeah, he was pissed when the black guy started, quoting to him plate tectonic shifts and global shifts that, and that stuff really does happen. We do have certain plates and shifts and stuff in the planet just by the structure of the thing. It's not as radical and as drastic as their theories. It's more like river bottoms and riverbeds and that move and stuff because of the water shifting through and stuff. That's more what it's like. All one big continent broke into things. No, it's when water goes through a certain thing, it forms things, and then it forms into things where it looks like they're together because one side's the side of the riverbank and one side's the other side. Is basically what it's like where the water goes through it and flows through it. And when water flows through it, it forms a channel and a thing, so that's why they came up with that plate tectonic thing, because they've got I don't know, it doesn't continental drifts. No, it's more like the molten thing and building up and then the water and then so it's cool. And it happened after two bodies colliding, which is also discussed in the Holy Quran, before scientists quote unquote theorized it through excessive compulsive studies from getting above and looking down below. Maybe tomorrow, peace and good, crystal blue persuasion. You're funny. I know. Okay, don't accept a lot of money to get people to beat the hell out of each other for it and think you're a successful person at acting like Jesus Christ, the guy you put the cross on your face before every game for money to hold stuff that are products hostage and think the products are more valuable than celery and carrots. Okay, you do know celery and carrots is way more valuable than a Formula One race car, right? Yeah. You destroy celery and carrots, you'll have Formula One race cars sitting around with no one to drive them. Ba-doom boom. They cause disease and kill people through stress and bad, aggressive psychotic conditions and make the environment try to shut down the most dangerous people and the biggest threats to the environment and the species. So, you got to save Kyle Busch's kids from the brain chemical addiction of the family that's not, Swiss Family Robinson or the Wilderness family there. You fill up my senses, this farm seems like a long-lost friend. Hey, it's good to be back home again, right? Well, you got to love people. If you don't love people, something's wrong with you. If you don't have some hopes and dreams and aspirations for other people's children as you do your own, you're a failure as a human being. Hi, I'm El Padre, okay? I love you, man. Peace out. If you don't love me, that's because you don't really, you're like the little girl, from miseducation, Lauryn Hill. Maybe they don't know. They've never been loved. Maybe they don't know how loved. She killed it with that. We can end that conversation with that. There you go. Ba-da-na-na, ba-da-na-na-na, ba-da-na-na.